32 energy, the anchor, being stuck in one position, versus 23 energy, being lifted and able to move. Not all negative karmic energies are meant to be released in this lifetime. But when you can recognize the ones that are capable of being transmuted, it's important that we do the work needed to make that happen. One of my viewers brought up something that I thought was completely on point. And they mentioned that water freezes at 32 degrees and the earth sits at a 23-degree axis. And I will continue talking about 23 and 32 energy until I'm blue in the face, because these are most important, you guys. It is most important that we understand how to break generational curses, karmic cycles, free ourselves from negative energies whenever possible. So I included a clip at the beginning of this video, and I think it's a phenomenal representation of what 32 versus 23 energy looks like when we're talking about 32. And let's relate it to what this viewer said about freezing water. Water represents emotion. When you are in a mindset or an emotional space that is stagnant, that is stuck, that is a perfect example of 32 energy. Versus being able to free yourself from that space, lift yourself up to be able to move and travel freely. That's when we're talking about 23 energy. We're talking about growth that has to take place. We're talking about awareness that has to be gained. We're talking about the ability to no longer dwell in your traumas, no longer dwell in your difficulty, no longer live in a woe is me state of mind, but being able to take accountability, do the work that's needed. Because I assure you, when it comes to rituals, if you are someone that practices magic, no amount of external ritual can take the place of doing the inner work. Because I assure you, true alignment starts from within, takes place within. As within, so without. You will then start to see your external world match the inner state of serenity. It doesn't start from outside, you guys. It doesn't start from trying to force things. It doesn't start from trying to manifest things without tending to your inner world first. Now in my book, I talk about karma of the spirit. Our karmic paths being shaped by our spirits, in addition to our own personal karma. However, there is also such a thing as a spiritual champion. If you become aware of the myth associated with your spirit, and you are able to combat those tendencies, you are able to start working with those energies and start making different choices, moving differently, changing the MO, that's when we're talking about someone who is able to overcome those spiritual bonds. So despite humanity's tendency to want to preach things like, be yourself, don't change for anyone, don't let anyone impact or influence you, here's the problem with that. We are flawed, and our spirits are flawed. The vibrational state Earth is in is low. So when it comes to us wanting to reach a state of utopia, right, that's the grand ideal, it requires ascension. It requires growth. It requires change. Like they say, if you want to change the world, change yourself first. So we have to start paying attention to our shortcomings. This is why inner work is so important, you guys. Shadow work, ego work. Start paying attention to your initial desires, your initial reactions to things, your initial instinct in certain situations when you're having to make a decision. I assure you, more often than not, the way to actually start initiating that growth is to make the opposite decision, make the opposite choice, do the opposite action of what you would initially try to do. We are stuck in a certain state spiritually. We are stuck in a certain state karmically. So in order to initiate that 23 energy and those shifts, those karmic shifts, and that positive karmic energy, we have to be able to release ourselves from everything that represents the 32 negative karmic energy in our lives. And more often than not, it's associated with some sort of energetic imbalance, how we maneuver in relationships, how we maneuver in the world. If you are someone who tends to be harsh, try responding in a softer manner. If you're someone that's a little bit too soft, try responding in a more assertive manner, right? Try doing the opposite. If you are someone that would rather avoid confrontation. Try embracing it. If you're someone who would rather leave things unsaid, use that 4 energy and communicate and say what needs to be said. You know how much karmic energy is created based on broken promises, broken agreements, and saying things that don't need to be said or not saying things that need to be said. It's about changing your MO, you guys. It's about doing the opposite. It's about growing. It's about expanding. 32 energy, frozen, contraction, stuck, anchor, stagnant. 23 energy, motion, lifting, elevating, freeing yourself. I hope this provided additional insight. Stay tuned for Demetra's number system, Numerology Perfected the book, coming next year. Have a great day.